My name is Greta Thunberg. I am 15 years old and I'm from Sweden. I speak on behalf of climate justice now.
LNG is being sought after all over Europe and all over the world, and we have more of it than anybody else. And I'm not going to lose that wealth. I'm not going to lose it on dreams, on windmills.
Climate change is defined as the long-term alteration of typical weather patterns in a certain area. According to climate.gov, experts predict that as a result of melting glaciers, the ocean's sea levels will rise up to 20 feet higher. This will flood many coastline cities around the world and even put some completely underwater.
With all the evidence we have of a warming Earth, it's harder and harder to be a skeptic these days. We're talking about temperature measurements, sea level rise, ocean acidification, and the reduction in ice shelves in Greenland and Antarctica, for example.
Scientists from all over the globe agree that we have less than a decade to slow down climate change before its effects become irreversible and lethal to humans.
Today, millions of people took to the streets in over 150 countries around the world to protest the climate change situation in what might be the largest environmental protest in history. In the global climate strike, as it was called today, students and adults walked out of their classrooms and offices and jobs to demand their leaders do more to fight climate change.
Even though many people believe that this is a serious issue, there are also some who are skeptical about the evidence. They argue that the changes are natural or insignificant, but time and time again, science has shown that the climate change is a serious issue that needs to be addressed in the presidential campaign. It will lead to the deaths of millions of people if it is not dealt with swiftly and properly. Climate change deniers also believe that the hysteria surrounding climate change is exaggerated and that people are focusing too much on an issue that could potentially resolve itself. They often believe that the global warming that is happening is part of natural fluctuations in the Earth's temperature and not because of humans.
We keep hearing that 2014 has been the warmest year on record. I asked the chair, you know what this is? It's a snowball, and that's just from outside here. So it's very, very cold out.
The debate about climate change started in the 1970s after scientists from NASA started noticing increasing amounts of greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. But due to a lack of department funding, NASA and other organizations soon prioritized planetary exploration over terrestrial research. For the next couple of decades, climate change research didn't pick up any red flags. But as countries across the world became more and more industrialized, scientists started to notice changes in the environment due to the heavy pollution and increasing world population. Due to the growing concerns in the scientific community, several organizations were founded for the purpose of finding and perhaps fixing the human race's impact on the planet. Fast forward to present day and the issue is more relevant than ever. Climate change advocates are holding strikes almost every week in order to persuade governments around the world to take action.
How do we know that climate change is real? Well, this is simple science. There's places all over the world that are constantly recording temperatures, and so if you look at the global average temperature, especially over the last 20 years, you can see that the global mean temperature has been rising, and by definition that's global warming. And right now especially you're seeing the impacts in Australia, which is having record-breaking heat in their summer, and which has led to lots of fires over there.
Many concerned advocates also want laws made by governments to reduce carbon emissions and stop pollution. They also want more money invested in finding solutions to this major problem. But recently, to the avail of many climate change advocates, President Trump has proposed a bill to cut the budget of climate change research and prevention up to 21%, and potentially crippling the efforts to reverse the effects of climate change in America.
Funding cuts of the magnitude proposed in the 2018 and 2019 budgets would threaten our ability to meet these challenges. The proposed cuts to federal CER&D would, if they become law in 2018 appropriations, have devastating impacts on U.S. capabilities. And the same is true for the 2019 budget cuts becoming law in 2019 appropriations.
The debate continues to this day, with the UN's global talks going into overtime and ending with neither side being satisfied. With the upcoming 2020 presidential elections, action on climate change is an issue that will affect who many people vote for. So we went to Washington, D.C. to get some opinions on the topic.
Is the current president doing, I don't think he's not doing anything other than stuff for himself.
No.
He's absolutely doing nothing about climate change, so I'd like anyone to do anything at all. Mostly I'm concerned about if I decide to have children, will there be a world worth living in for them?
In the end, the topic of climate change is a heavily polarizing matter in today's world, but now more than ever, it is important for the people's voices to be heard. Without the actions of everyday people such as Greta Thunberg, climate change might not have been such a prominent issue in today's politics, and it is our job as citizens to make sure the safety of everyone in the world is in good hands.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering, people are dying, entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?